and welcome to my channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical astrology insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to see more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. Also, please comment in the comment section with anything that you would like to give as feedback for this video. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. You can check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there. Thank you. And also, I have started a tarot channel more recently than this channel. And I'm also going to be linking that in the video description. In case you like tarot, you might want to go ahead and check it out. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, maybe consider subscribing if you are interested in tarot. Thank you. So, today's video is going to be about transits for 2023. And as I said, I am starting with Aries because that was the first sign that I extracted among my ruffles. So I'm going to start as usual with an introduction, and this introduction is going to be the same for all of the videos in this series for 2023. So if you listen for it once, then it will be the same for all of the videos in this series. So mainly I'm going to start by saying that as I also mentioned last year, you can use these videos with predictions for 2023 for your moon sign as well as for your ascendant sign. You probably remember that I mentioned that you can take your moon sign as ascendant and look at the rest of your planets from your moon sign, and that is called a Chandra Lagna chart. Meaning literally taking the moon as an ascendant and looking at the rest of the placements from the moon. And especially if the moon in your horoscope, in your natal chart, is in a lower degree than the ascendant or the Lagna, it might be particularly relevant for you to look at the moon chart as opposed to the Lagna chart. Both of them are important though. It's just that in certain situations, the Chandra Lagna or the Moon Lagna can be more important when it comes to predictions. Okay, that's something that I wanted to say. Also, I have divided the year into three main parts as usual with respect to transits. Now, in the first roughly 2 weeks of 2023, the placements will be basically very much the same as they were in the end of 2022, or as they are going to be at the end of 2022. So if you want to see your predictions, you can just go back to my 2022 series and rewatch the chart 3 phase for the ascendant that you have or the moon sign that you have in my videos for 2022. I'm gonna link the playlist for 2022 transits in this video description. So go ahead and watch that for the roughly 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of 2023. So from January 1st until roughly January 14th, 2023, when Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. So the main divisions that I have looked at for 2023 are from roughly January 14th until April 19th, 2023, when Rahu is going to be in Aries, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces, Saturn is in Aquarius. The second chart is going to be when Rahu, from around April 19th until December 2nd, 2023, when Rahu is going to be in Aries, Jupiter is going to be in Aries, Saturn is going to be in Aquarius. And then the final section is going to be from December 2nd until the end of 2023, or roughly December 31st, 2023, when Rahu will be in Pisces, Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius. So these are the three main sections that I will be looking at for all ascendants. And if you look at the chart, I have marked the planets. RA means Rahu, JU means Jupiter, SA means Saturn, KE means Ketu. And I will be marking the aspects for each of these with a different color. Yellow for Jupiter, red for Rahu, or pink for Rahu, gray for Saturn, and that's about it. I haven't marked the Ketu aspects because Ketu is always opposite Rahu. Okay, so Ketu, just like Rahu and Jupiter, also aspects the 5th and the 9th houses from itself in addition to the house that it opposes. So this is just for you to know, but I haven't marked them, these aspects, Ketu's aspects, on the chart just to keep it, simple. And yeah, this is pretty much what I wanted to say as an introduction. And now I'm going to get into the individual descriptions for the sign at hand. So hello Libra, this is your reading for 2023 transits, and once again I am just reminding you that you can use this for both your ascendant as well as your moon sign, especially if your moon sign is at a lower degree than your ascendant. So let's start with the chart 1 phase. When Rahu is in Aries, Jupiter is in Pisces, Saturn is in Aquarius. So as you can see also on the screen, you're going to have Rahu transiting through the 7th house, which is basically a continuation of what has happened in the previous year. So this shows, especially for those of you who have an archetype that shows you might have a foreign spouse, this could definitely show that you might meet someone, especially a person of foreign origin. If you are already in a relationship, this could show potential challenges because you're probably going to feel a bit more distracted than usual, in the sense that you might start to get a little bit antsy, impatient. It might start to feel like your partner is irritating you more than usual. And all of this because Rahu generally brings this kind of buzz energy around the long-term relationship. So you might start to feel like you want something new. And you need to be really careful because, of course, you have to be sure that it is not just a passing phase if you feel like this is going to happen, meaning you might get impatient and maybe even consider ending a relationship. Of course, worst case scenario, this could also be coming from the partner side. And it does help you to understand this because you might want to work on your communication and work on any kind of problems that appear in your long-term relationships in due time before they escalate. Also, with Rahu in the 7th house, this could show more opportunities in your career, especially for those of you who are working in one-on-one situations or you're working with an audience, or if you have a partnership-based business. In the sense that you're going to easily get more popularity, you're also just going to be focused more on your social status and your career. You're probably going to get more opportunities just because you are very, smart about seeking career opportunities and showing yourself in the best light. You also have Saturn in the 5th house, so this is definitely a great time for you to meet a long-term partner. Maybe even to get married if you are in a long-term partnership already, because Saturn is in the house of romance. So this shows this is a great time to meet a serious long-term partner for those of you who are single. Because the 5th house, like I said, is about romance, and Saturn is about everything that is thorough and stable. And also, since you have Saturn also being a co-ruler of the 5th house, and then you also have Rahu, the co-ruler of your 5th house, in the 7th, this is definitely a great time to start a new romance for those of you who are single. And like I said, especially for those of you who already have your natal chart indicating a foreign spouse, you might meet someone that you're going to end up marrying at some point. And let me see. Also, the ruler of the fourth house is falling into your fifth house, which is also Saturn. This is okay, interesting. So this could have multiple interpretations. One interpretation could be that you will be inclined to invest in real estate. One interpretation could be that your mother or your family of origin somehow will be meddling in how you raise your children, in your education. Most likely there could be some kind of a negative interference here in these areas signified by the fifth house. So maybe your mother is pressuring you to choose a certain career path and you are really tired of it. It could also be that your mother's telling you how to raise your child and you really don't appreciate it. So, with respect to how to handle this, of course, it could help to be diplomatic and also to just know that this is a transit you are going through, so it's not going to last forever. But it does help if you are mindful of these things, because if it catches you off guard, you might tend to react in a negative way. And also, since Saturn is aspecting the seventh house by third aspect, this reinforces the fact that you are definitely putting a lot of effort into your career. And you're also going to be putting a lot of effort into your relationship area and one-on-one partnership. So seventh house can also show, for certain people who are working in professions like psychology or counselor of any kind, a lawyer, something like that, consultant of any kind. So people who work with audiences or work on one-on-one situations have to deal with a lot of negotiations. This is going to be a time when you're definitely going to focus a lot on this area, and you are going to see slow and steady progress, especially if you are working in one of these fields. Right. You also have Jupiter in the sixth house aspecting the 10th. The 10th, the 12th, and the second house. This is interesting in the sense that Jupiter in the sixth house really could show potentially health problems due to self-indulgence. So be careful about that. Mostly Jupiter in the sixth should be positive for you with respect to your health, except for this issue of self-indulgence. Especially since Jupiter is in Pisces, where it's particularly strong. And also Pisces is a sign that kind of has a reputation of, making people chunky. So yeah, that's like basically be careful not to pile on weight without realizing it during this time. You might find that you are more indulgent in the food department than usual. And of course, this could also extend to other things, but I would say not so much, things like alcohol. Actually, alcohol could be a thing as well. And other substances as well, because Pisces is about escapism. So this is something like you need to be careful not to fall into bad habits and addictions. Mostly, though, Jupiter in the sixth house shows that if you have been unemployed or if you have been seeking a better job, this is a great time for you to find a better job, especially since it also aspects the 10th house. And since it also aspects the 12th house, this shows you might actually get some work opportunities from foreign lands. But it also shows your mood generally is going to be quite positive during this time. So you're going to be pretty optimistic. You're not going to be depressed, let me put it like that, despite Saturn's influence, I think. Of course, this does depend, everything that I say actually in these videos does depend a lot on what else you have going on in your individual horoscope. But just based on these influences, Jupiter aspecting the 12th shows you're going to be in a pretty good mood. And this is also showing that meditation could benefit you a lot. You might be more driven than usual to studying the mind-body connection when it comes to improving your health. Things like psychosomatic illnesses, things like using, meditation or something like the Silva method in order to work on your health mentally and physically. Since Jupiter is also aspecting the second house, this is a good time for you financially. So this shows that you're probably going to see an increase in savings, but it's not going to be like due to, you know, mad luck or something like that. It's mainly going to be because you basically it's going to be in direct proportion to how much effort you put in, especially in your career and in saving money. I see that the relationship with a relationship with an elder sibling or a relationship with your friends could turn a little bit sour during this time. Since you have both Saturn and Rahu, you might sometimes feel deceived. You might have an experience where you feel deceived or betrayed by a friend or an older sibling. I know this sounds a bit negative, but it does help if you are aware of it. It could be like this, or of course, worst case scenario, it could be that you will somehow end up deceiving someone, or someone will perceive you as being deceptive, someone in your friend circle. But with Saturn aspecting the 11th house, it also shows that the few friends that you do have around you most likely are going to be by your side. So Saturn is going to seek to get rid of any opportunists around you, or like good time friends. Interesting. So you're definitely going to see, because Rahu is aspecting the third house, you are going to feel an increase in bravery, but you need to be careful not to throw yourself headfirst into things. You need to still, weigh the pros and cons and plan ahead, because Rahu can make you a little bit not overly optimistic, but can make you blind to certain dangers. So yes, another interpretation though, and for some of you it could go one way or the other. Another interpretation could be that you might learn to be really clever in getting what you want, as in, being sly, which is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you don't do anything hugely immoral or illegal. But yes, you might actually feel like you don't want to work very hard in some ways. And you're going to be tempted to cut corners sometimes, but this can also lead to, more creative ideas, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, definitely a time when you're going to be really creative, like mentally. Especially if you are working or in an artistic field, or if you have some kind of a creative hobby, you might find that this is a time of great inspiration. You might get some really great ideas. This is also a great time for those of you who are going through competitions. So, especially professional competitions like what do you call it? Yeah, for a career, for your job, stuff that. So, and again, this could even apply to looking for a job. You might be successful in interviews. You have higher chances than usual that you will be presented with the right opportunities at the right time. And you're definitely also going to focus a lot of your energy on I think improving your health and your work environment. And this is also a great time to have a pet. Like if you have been considering getting a pet, this is definitely a great time for that. Right, so this is as much as I can say about the chart 1 phase. Now, moving on to the chart 2 phase from around April 19th until, so this is most of the year, April 19th until December 2nd, 2023, when Rahu is going to be in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius. So, Rahu and Jupiter are going to be together in the 7th house. So this is, again, an even stronger period for those of you who want to get married or find a long-term partner. It's an extremely strong period, actually, now that I look at it, because you have Saturn as well aspecting. So, let me see. 3rd house. This is also a time when, though, you might find that your work could be interfering with your relationship a lot more than usual. Like maybe your spouse is not going to be or your partner is not going to be happy because you spend too much time focusing on work. There is definitely a strong indication that you're focused on relationships, on romance, and also, but you're also very focused on career, building a status, building a reputation. Let me see. Right, this is something I should have said from the beginning of the year. Having Ketu in the 1st house, here I colored with blue the aspects of Ketu as well. So having Ketu in the 1st house shows that you might feel actually a bit more introverted than usual. During the entire time when Rahu is in your 7th house, you might start to become, a little bit closed off, a little bit hyper-focused on spirituality, and especially in the first part of the year, I should have said this, this Ketu in the 1st house is an even stronger indicator that you're going to feel drawn to spiritual pursuits, meditation, going within, analyzing yourself, but this is also a time of great inspiration when it comes to your intuitive insights and your ideas, abstract ideas especially. This might be a time, actually the whole time when Ketu is in the 1st house, might be a time when you are struggling, especially with self-esteem issues, and maybe struggling is not the best way to put it, because of course it does depend a lot on what else is happening in the horoscope. I'm not seeing personal placements here, but especially for those of you for whom self-esteem has been an issue in your lives, you're going to get through some kind of a transformational period with respect to your self-esteem. Like you might have some kind of a breakthrough. If you have struggled with defining yourself, defining your values, and your sense of self-worth, this time is going to be particularly important for you because you're going to have some major breakthroughs and insights. On a more negative sense, especially if you don't really work on understanding yourself and your environment, you could find yourself even more under the control of your family of origin. You might feel like they're being manipulative or trying to control you in some way. Or they're like somehow trying to make you smaller so that they can that they can basically control you better. Sorry if this sounds a little bit negative, but I must speak as I find. At least during the 2nd phase of the year, you also have the aspect of Jupiter on the ascendant, which is great. Of course, it also depends on where your Mars is. But if Jupiter also aspects, sorry, not your Mars, your Venus. If Jupiter also aspects your Venus, this is particularly positive because Venus is the ruler of your ascendant. And I mean aspects your Venus by transit, not according to your natal chart. In that case, you're definitely going to see a boost in your confidence and your self-esteem after this period, especially. While you are going through this period, you might still be struggling. Jupiter is also going to be aspecting your 11th house, which shows that during this second part of the year, you're going to have more opportunities for socializing, making friends, relationship with friends and older siblings are going to get better as well. You're also going to be focusing a lot of your willpower, a lot of your efforts on career gains. And getting, doing your best at work and at your job. Ketu in the first house, and actually in this second phase, really, of the year, you're actually potentially going to see a lot of gains in popularity and status, even more so than in the first phase. You might get some great advantages because of your spouse, especially if you're a woman. Like the spouse might increase your popularity, your status, your finances somehow. But yeah, what I was gonna say with Ketu in the first house, so throughout this entire time, really, when Ketu's in the first house, especially in the first stage, the first chart phase, not so much this one, the second chart is gonna be better when it comes to Ketu's influence because you also have Jupiter there aspecting. But in the first stage, especially where Ketu is sitting there, you might feel depleted in energy. This could also show like potentially you are too tired or you're neglecting your health. And going hand in hand with Jupiter being in the 6th house in the first chart phase, this could show again that you might be more vulnerable with respect to your health. So be careful about that. Take care of yourself. Ketu can actually hint, I don't want to say it because then I'm going to go Inception in a negative sense. So let's just say take care of your health. Don't neglect any small cold or anything like that, okay? Because yes, Ketu can just show you're neglecting yourself, your body. You could be neglecting, you could not, you may not taking necessary precautions. That's what I'm trying to say. So please take necessary precautions, like including wearing a mask sometimes if necessary, in very crowded areas at least. Because, yes, it could show a weakened immune system. That's what I'm trying to say. Especially if you neglect yourself. And you might also just experience a bit of a lower vitality throughout this time, especially during the first chart phase. So, yeah, this is pretty much what I can say about the chart 2 phase. So, let me see, chart 3. So, chart 3 is basically almost 1 month, and that is the month of December. December 2023. And you have Rahu in Pisces, Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius. Alright, so Rahu is going to move back. Rahu is going to be moving in Pisces and Jupiter is going to stay in Aries. Interesting. Okay. So, the issue about the health, like, you should still take care of your health. It's not going to be a high risk as it was in the previous phases, but you should be cautious of it. Here, with Rahu in the 6th house, you could also, to some extent, deal with issues like addiction, overindulgence, but especially with Rahu there, this could show addiction to substances of all kinds. That includes pills as well. So be careful about this. And again, don't overindulge or like don't neglect these issues. Like if you're addicted to, I don't know, sleeping pills or something like that, do not neglect this and just try to be as cautious as possible. And, you know, take care of your health and take the natural options as much as possible. Also, you will really have fun at work during this time, I think. Especially for those of you who want to have some kind of a creative job or speculative job, like maybe you want to work in investments, stuff like that, you're going to have more opportunities during this phase. This is going to be a pretty tough time when it comes to, actually the whole time when Saturn is in Aquarius, but especially this time because Saturn is alone in Aquarius. This is going to be a pretty tough time when it comes to your education. So if you have been enrolled in an education program or taken up a course or whatever, you might experience some delays and frustrations with respect to graduating, or you may find it harder than usual to see the progress you want. But of course, as usual with Saturn, the only way forward is through it. So you just have to work as much as possible. Saturn doesn't like leaving things to chance. So anytime you leave things to chance, probably it will not work in your favor. And also Saturn in the 5th house, for those of you who have children, can show that somehow the children will require more of your attention. You are going to have some increased responsibilities with respect to your children. But also Saturn in the 5th, when it comes to romance, this is not good for anyone who wants to have like a shallow romance. So while you might feel less romantic, this is also a good time for you to actually find a good long-term partner, as opposed to, you know, just having a passionate affair. With respect to finances, this is probably going to be the more risky period, but it's still probably mostly going to be positive in the sense that Jupiter is still aspecting the 11th house. So relations with your friends and older siblings are going to be good, mostly. This is weird. You might find that for some of you, like this is pretty specific, you might find that somehow your mother or like your mother figure or someone in your mother's lineage is somehow affecting your friendships or the relationship with an older sibling. There might be interference here. This could also potentially show, for some of you, see how this resonates, gains from real estate. But this is true also for the previous time as well, the previous chart. Yeah, you might get some gains from real estate. And or vehicles, like, I don't know, maybe if you're looking to sell a car or something, this is a good time. You might feel drawn to like exotic foods more than usual, but at the same time, Your interest in food is going to drop during this time. Like, you might prefer simple foods or simple meals, but also exotic in nature, if that makes sense. Your speech is also going to be, like, you might feel silent more than usual, like you may be less communicative. And also you need to, but yeah, your speech is going to come across as pretty creative actually and unusual. So people might make remarks about something you say. So be careful here, because again, this could cause miscommunications, or it could bring unwanted attention. Like, people might accuse you of being deceptive during this time, or some kind of problem with your speech. So, and I'm not trying to make you feel inhibited, but it does help to understand, that your speech might cause some misunderstanding. So you need to be cautious about what you say and what you don't say. So definitely when it comes to the work environment, avoid oversharing anything, because it might turn against you. This is a great time to actually make money from a hobby as well, or make money from, a hobby, a side hustle. So if there's something you have considered doing for a long time, this is definitely a good time for you to start that. And also, if you are just involved in any kind of profession that is creative, working with children or teaching of any kind, you're going to be favored in finding work or getting progress in your career during this time. And also, since Jupiter is the only aspect on your ascendant, this is going to be a good time with respect to confidence and self-esteem. And your health is probably going to be, like, in this phase, yes, you're probably going to have the best phase with respect to health because of the Jupiter aspect. But a lot of it is still going to depend on you and how much you're willing to take care of yourself and work on your health. Yeah, so this is pretty much what I can see for you, and I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, please do not forget to also comment in the comment section with any feedback you would like to give. And also, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics in both astrology and tarot. You can email me at the email in the video description, and I can send you more information about that. Okay, thank you.